Previously, when we thought of going out, the first thing came to our minds were the hassle we need to face on the Dhaka roads. Dhaka city, being the capital of Bangladesh, has the busiest roads and traffic jam. All the mega cities in the world encounter traffic jam at a certain hours of a day. But what we have in Dhaka is not traffic jam. It's a total traffic chaos and mismanagement. Amid this crisis, the light of hope came when ride-sharing services were introduced in Dhaka. Because ride-sharing services offer commuters certain benefits that mainstream transportation services do not, it became a boon for the city dwellers. And at present, it's hard to imagine for someone who hasn't heard of Uber in Dhaka. And now, when we think of going out, we think of Uber. We are Team Alpha, and today the goal of our presentation here is to discuss our research results in here brief. So we conducted a qualitative research for analyzing the factors that influenced university students to use Uber in Dhaka city. I am Maisha, and I am starting my presentation by giving you a short overview of our presentation. Being a team leader, I will be introducing you with our research topic and discuss why we chose this topic and what was our research problem and our research objectives. Dhaka, being one of the most densely populated and congested cities in the world, demands considerable efficiency, reliability, and safety for mass transportation from commuters. With the introduction of Uber, commuters have been blessed with the use of finding transport, doorstep pickup, and app-based fare estimation. And this Uber is an American multinational company that started its operation in Bangladesh in 2016. According to Uber, 22% of the people in Dhaka have used Uber app at least once. But before Uber, the life of us was not the same. We need to face daily hassle for traveling in Dhaka city. Whether we are going to office or colleges, we needed to look for CNGs or auto rickshaws or wait for buses. And then we didn't have seats in those buses, or the CNGs and taxis ask for high fares. According to the World Bank, the traffic transaction eats up 3.2 million working hours per day in Dhaka, adding up to 660 million working hours per year. So what created the room for Uber in Dhaka? With everything under consideration, Uber tends to provide the best possible services available to its riders by their app services. With Uber, not only you can get a ride in less than 6 minutes, but also they abide by the fixed fare with minor changes depending on the weather and demand. It also offers you a comfortable journey. And the best part is all this information is available before you start your trip. Within just a few years of launch, Uber has become a popular means of moving around the city, and obviously it's for good reasons. It's quick, secure, affordable, and convenient compared to all other traffic transportations. As we know, Uber is an app-based service where we need to have internet connection and smartphones. Students, being the most tech-savvy people, are using Uber on daily basis. And as students, we believe research should be conducted targeting the segments of students, especially the university students, because students need inexpensive alternatives to travel, which will be hassle-free and better than our conventional transportation systems. So we conducted our research on analyzing which factors influence them to use Uber in Dhaka city. Moving on. Our research showed that 69 to 75% of the students are addicted to use internet on daily basis, and it was a very basic reason for which we are conducting our research on university students specifically. Moving on. So we divided our research problem in two sections: marketing research problem and management decision problem. Our marketing research problem was we need to understand the factors that are influencing the intention of our university students to use Uber in Dhaka city. And the management decision problem, where we are intended to find out what new innovative features can be added by Uber's management that will increase the usage intention of Uber service in Dhaka city by the university students. And we have some specific objectives for our research, and those are: We need to identify the factors that are positively influencing the usage intention of Uber car services by the university students. And the next objective was to assess the factors importance in terms of usage intention of Uber car. And finally, our objective is to provide some feasible recommendations which might help Uber to personalize their services for the students for their better service experiences.
Okay, now I will talk about the situation analysis of Uber in Dhaka, about from of the pastel. Next slide, please. Okay, already we know that pastel analysis is the framework or tool used to analyze and monitor the macro environment factors that may have a profound impact on an organization performance. At first, we talk about the political factors. We know that disapproval from government and traditional taxi service in Dhaka city, initial government concern over ride-sharing economy and regulatory framework in 2017, BRT allotted license for Uber. Next one is economic factors. Uber Uber car reduce search cost for passenger with low cost to luxury and provide earning opportunity. Next one is social factor. Social factor is social acceptance is so good and connect to ins driver and customer, create a good relationship and also increase the job opportunity. Next one is technological factor. This is the important factor in any organization. Uber car is basically mobile based tech service, and this Uber app easy to find on Google Play and Play Store. Next one is legal factors. Uber legally technique use law, labor and employee safety law, and BRTA proposed ride sharing service guideline 2017. Last one is the environmental factor. Uber reduced fuel uses and did not increase traffic congestion. Next slide, please. Now I will talk about the VRIO analysis. Next, I would like to explain the analysis from work Uber in Bangladesh. VIRO analysis is complement to pastel analysis and uncover sustained competitive advantage. As we know, VRIO is 4-question framework for value, rarity, immutability, and organization. Let's break down Uber's VRIO framework briefly. First one is valuable. Uber has come up with innovation ideas, whether it is about security or making a user-friendly app. Uber has a large base of satisfied and loyal consumers. After just their launch, in just 1 year, they were 10,000 active Uber car operating in Dhaka, and around now 2 lakh people took trip in Uber. Uber has well-serviced car and they are available 24 hours, 7 days, providing ride share with greater service quality. Next one is rare. Here, rarity means whether Uber contains something that is hard to find yet in demand in our view. One other company has such innovative ideas in terms of customer service, though their app and one ride service. Next part is immutability. The level of service quality provided by Uber is both costly and difficult to imitable. As such, they have earned huge customer loyalty that also not imitable by others. And last one is organization. Uber is organized to capture value from its resource and capabilities, having expert management team and also IT and a strong software builder. Now makes Uber unique. I would capabilities, innovative, I give sustained competitive advantage. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the next slide, please. So despite all the criticism and negative feedback, Uber continued to rise and has become the mainstream for the university students of Dhaka city. There are still plenty of opportunity for Uber to add new services and features and give it a competitive advantage over overall its rivals. It has some strength and weakness also that govern the opportunities and threats in future. The strength of Uber also governs some opportunities for the future. Uber app is solely dependent on internet, and as people are getting more tech and internet savvy, world would be a lucrative opportunity for Uber to motivate user to interact and use Uber apps and increase their customer base and profitability. Because of Uber's unique business model and adaptable nature, Uber has an opportunity to launch self-driving vehicles. If Uber is able to bring safe and reliable self-driving experience to its customers, it will make Uber more profitable in future. Uber has an opportunity to expand its mode to transport like ambulance service, school van, and etc. Nothing is free from weakness, so it has some weakness too. So which are one of the key weakness of Uber is dependency on internet and smartphone device. Without these two people cannot use Uber app or request for ride. In Bangladeshi context, internet connection is not that much available till date in all parts of the country. The real issue is ride sharing industry is not prosperity and protectable. Thus, there are chances that Uber business model would get intimidated. Low entry barriers for new entrants are also a weakness for Uber. There are also some threats which are Uber is already facing a finance competition from companies like Pathao, Sohos. It will eventually lower Uber market share and profitability. Moreover, it will become difficult to retain customer and employee. Uber records customer personal information, pickup and dropping location. As such, data breach is a huge challenge faced by Uber, and it will be very hard to protect those data from emails and theft.
Thank you, Shubho, for your wonderful speech. So now I'm talking about Porter's 5 forces analysis. From Porter's 5 forces analysis of Uber car in Bangladesh, we found that Uber is currently operating a very attractive industry, having high rivalry among its competitors like Sohoj and Pathao. Despite having medium threat of replace by its substitutes, the new threat of entry is very high, which decreases the bargaining power of the drivers as the price is already been fixed, and having other companies in the same industry is also increase the bargaining power of riders. If we can see the slide, we can see that bargaining power of the riders is very high. The bargaining power of drivers is low because the company mainly set the price of the drivers, so drivers cannot do anything. Threats of new entry also higher because this Uber market industry is very competitive. The threat of substitution is medium here because Uber mainly launched the first online-based transportation system in Bangladesh. So they mainly set the benchmark of online-based transportation system in Bangladesh. So their competitive strategy here is medium, as we found in our research. So the next one is rivalry among competitors. It is very high because any company can launch a online based transportation company in Bangladesh. So here, because it is very competitive area in our country, so we found out that rivalry among competitors is very high in our country's perspective. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So now I'm going to talking about research design. So we conducted the research design into three parts. Number one is sampling design, number two is research design, and number three is data sources. So in sampling design, our target population is all the university students in Dhaka city. But our sampling technique, we have associated our study with convenience non-profitability sampling. Our sampling element is that university students from Dhaka who have used Uber car in last 1 year. The determination of sample size was based on convenience sample were asked in 8 students for our online focus group discussion in to complete 6 questions, which took 30 minutes approximately. So we also seek an in-depth interview from 2 participants. As such, we had the total 10 participants to seek the necessary information for our research. But because such small students enable the researcher to gain a deeper understanding of participants' experience to develop a the rich description of that experience. So now moving on to the next topic is research design. So we conducted an exploratory design followed by descriptive design. Then in our qualitative study to identify and analyze the factor influencing students to use Uber car in service, we took the approach phenomenally qualitative research, where we tried out to while we tried out to study a phenomenon students experience and usage intent towards Uber car in Dhaka city. So the next one is data sources. We have used both primary and secondary data sources. From our primary data sources, we mainly use on in-depth interview and focus group discussion. And in our secondary data sources, we mainly use the journal articles, company websites, published reports, which will be given as a reference on the next on the report in last part. So that's all for my part. Next one, please continue.
So now the methodology part, as we are conducting qualitative research, we had used both primary and secondary data. Both because of time restriction and the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, we had collected our primary data from one focus group discussion and one in-depth interview, which were later transcribed, coded, and categorized into meaningful way to help us with our analysis. We had also used secondary data for our better analysis. As such, we had used journals, articles, company websites, published reports as secondary data sources. Next slide, please. So moving on with my presentation, I am going to discuss about the in-depth interview taken which helped us with our analysis to complete the research. Basically, in-depth interviews with different people help researchers gain much deeper and more specific ideas. 2 different students were chosen to participate in the in-depth interviews. Interviewing them, we have got an in-depth knowledge of the factors that are greatly influencing them to use Uber car as their medium of transportation. Next slide, please. Now, the findings of the in-depth interview. So, one in-depth interview was conducted with a student who is a heavy user of Uber's car service. Here is the profile of our participant of in-depth interview. She's a female under the age of 23 with an average income under 6,500 and a student from Jahangirnagar University who uses the Uber car services. In the interview, we asked the participant regarding her perception on various criterion, including perception regarding the element that has driven her to choose Uber's car as her mode of transportation. After transcribing, we summarized it as the relationship between students' intention to use Uber car and influencing factors of using Uber car for easier understanding as follows. We found some important attributes that influences students to use Uber car. They are mainly the perception on the influencers to use Uber is in-time service that they experience with Uber, well-equipped cars that offer good quality service to the users, Convenience when Uber ensures an easy way to travel from one place to another without any hassle. There were also thoughts on improvement opportunity that Uber can focus on, like customer support, driver expertise. First, customer support, they can better or improve the customer support system that they have currently. If they can ensure an emergency number where the users can call at any time, then the Uber car users may feel more secure and safer. Drivers' expertise. Educate the drivers on how to be more professional in our country to provide greater experience and quality service for users. There was also some advice given on the improvements, like introduce lady drivers. This can be a great new introduction to the Uber services. Women or female students users can feel more comfortable and safer to travel more with the Uber car services. Then initiate student offer good discount prices and fares to students so that they are more encouraged to use the car services. So these were the findings from the in-depth interview analysis, which helped us a lot in our research, and we hope we were able to transform all the data that we got into a meaningful information.
Now, moving on with our presentation, I, on behalf of my team, will explain about the focus group discussion, which was conducted in order to get the essential data to complete our research. So first, the focus group discussion, what is it about? The focus group discussion is very suitable for consumer analysis because it provides researchers with a chance to know not only the individual behaviors, but also the attitudes and the interactions between each of the participants. For our research, we try to organize one online focus group discussion because of the current coronavirus situation that is going on with different university students in Dhaka city, where the group consisted of 8 members. The discussion was about 40 minutes, during which participants expressed their personal views and communicated freely with each other. This helped us to gain an overall understanding towards the influencing factors of using Uber car in the Dhaka city. Moving on with the presentation, as mentioned, one focus group discussion was conducted for developing a brief understanding about the factors influencing the students. Because of the global pandemic situation, we had to conduct the focus group discussion using the Zoom application virtually online. Our participants included, as we can see here, 2 female and 3 male participants who were university students using the Uber car services in the Dhaka city. Going on to the next slide. Now, this is the main part of the focus group discussion, the key findings. I will just briefly explain. We, as a group, have categorized them under 4 categories. First, we have the general usage behavior. So, majority of the students said that the Uber car they use are on weekly basis, either to go to the university by carpooling or to just go out and hang out with the friends. Some of the students said that they need to use the Uber car daily as it is most convenient medium of their transportation, especially for the female students who are trying to avoid the public transport and the hassle that comes along with it. Some of the students also said that they use Uber occasionally when they want to, when they do not want to use their own transportation or other medium of transportation. Next, we have the perceived difference between conventional transportation system and the ride-sharing services. So most of the students perceive the conventional system is nothing but a hassle and it is inconvenient. It takes a lot of time to find a taxi cab, CNG, and they need to bargain and go through a lot of hassle to get to travel from one place to another. But on the other hand, in case of Uber, they think that Uber is more convenient to them because they can call for a car at their own choice and the fare and the riding details are shown in the application, which reduces their hassle of bargaining and the search cost. Next, we have the 4 important reasons, the perceived reasons to use Uber car services by the university students in the Dhaka city. And the 4 reasons are accessibility, affordability, convenience, and safety. So I will briefly explain them in the next slide, but before moving to the next slide, let's look at the last point given here, which is the desired effective ways to improve the service. So the participants also perceive that there is some scope of improvement for Uber in Dhaka city, and they can also believe that if Uber's management improves their services in those areas, they can excel in their respective fields, acquiring more customers in the future. Majority of the participants came out suggesting that Uber should improve its customer support and complaint system. In many cases, customers do not know exactly where they should file a complaint in case of emergencies. Uber also faced some scandals or sexual harassment in recent time, which may decrease their goodwill if not properly addressed. Furthermore, sometimes drivers get confused regarding the specific location. So if a good training or guidance is given to them on how to use the Google Maps system, it can be convenient not only for the riders, but also for the drivers. This is what the focus group discussion, the participants felt. Now, moving to the next slide, the most important part, as I said earlier, the 4 reasons to the users for using the Uber application. First, we have accessibility, which is majority of the students felt that as Uber has its own mobile application, they just need a smartphone and a good internet connection, and that's it. They can easily get a traveling service, and they can travel anywhere in Dhaka city. They do not have to wait on the roads or on the public buses or CNGs. So Uber car service is accessible to them anywhere and anytime. Next, we have convenience. Uber car service also increases the convenience that they can easily request for the ride through the app and also get different kinds of services according to their needs. So according to the students, it is very convenient to them. Moving on, the safety. This is a major concern. The safety concern in the context of transportation has always been in the minds of everyone. So some of our participants believe that Uber car is safer than our transportations like bus, CNG, or taxi cab. So as Uber is perceived to be safer mode of transportation, university students tend to be using this service more often than other modes of transportation. And finally, affordability. Students also perceive that they always try to find inexpensive and affordable medium to travel. And some of them also believe that affordability is a reason for them to use Uber car. And that is why their #1 choice is Uber in recent times. Thus, these are the 4 important aspects that makes Uber successful when it comes to providing good quality services to the students in Dhaka city. Therefore, they should focus and give more importance in maintaining these standards by properly fulfilling all these criteria of providing services and ensuring full customer satisfaction for their services. That will be all from my part. I hope I was able to cover all the points. Now, the presentation will be continued by the next speaker.
So now I will be talking about the analysis and recommendation. So throughout the report, the speakers have talked about all the respective parts. So now the important part, that's the analysis of what we are actually doing in the research results. So the results we get after conducting the focus group discussion and in-depth interview with the university students through our Zoom cloud meetings, we have transcribed, coded, and categorized, and finally analyzed in a structured form. During this analysis process, our motive was to find out the factors that influence the university students to use the Uber car in Dhaka city. We also emphasized on the suggestions of the university students on the improvement of the Uber service in Dhaka city. Therefore, we came across some issues that create reluctance on the usage of Uber car for transportation purpose. From both the focus group discussion and in-depth interview, we came to an understanding that there are several factors determining the intention of Uber car services among the university students. As we can see in the previous presenter's presentation, that students had several perceptions regarding which factors are influencing them to use the Uber car service in Dhaka city that are leveraging the tangible aspects, including the mobile application for smartphones, the multiple attractive and well-equipped cars for multiple purpose. Moreover, students also think that apart from accessibility tangible aspects, convenience and affordability also plays a significant role when it comes to choosing this type of transportation service in Dhaka city. Uber not only make their lives hassle-free, but also provide them with the assurance of safety and service quality while providing in-time services or on-demand services. So despite being satisfied with the Uber's car services, students feel that there is still some room for improvement in the terms of customer support, drivers' expertise, and the new innovation. So the study found that if Uber can bring about certain improvements in the sectors mentioned earlier, they can eventually grab more customers, specifically the students that we have done our research on. So because from the practical perspective, the students will be the future workforce going to their offices every day and may act as a major target group for Uber in Dhaka city. Additionally, some of the elements are also creating reluctance in terms of using Uber among the students. The major element is the safety issue. Recently, one of the passengers filed a complaint against Uber car driver for sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior as well. So in our study, we also find a high concern on the issues among the students. So can we move on to the next slide, please? So based on our analysis, we have constructed this following model highlighted, and it was also discussed in details by the previous speaker, that the model actually is a proposed model for analyzing the factors that is influencing the university students to use Uber car. And this is what we have analyzed and found, that convenience, affordability, accessibility, on time or on demand services, safety and security, and well-equipped cars can lead to the intention of the use of Uber car service in Dhaka city by university students. So the six factors are contributing to the intention to use the car service by the university students in Dhaka. So now let's talk about recommendation. Can we move on to the next slide? So in our focus group discussion and in-depth interview, we asked our participants that if they wanted to change anything of the current Uber car services that will increase their satisfaction. So we have summed up all their responses and came up with some recommendation based on the most common answer. One of the main recommendation from our study will be regarding the fare or the price the customers are paying, or specifically the students are paying for the car services. So nowadays, the fare of Uber cars during the peak hour or the monsoon tends to be higher than normal. So it should be kept reasonably so that it can be affordable to use Uber car for all the class of students, and the reasons for charging extra fare should be shown on the Uber app for customers' knowledge. And Uber can also introduce student fare separately, when then it will be given with discounts by showing their university ID cards or any other forms of ID card solution. So moreover, the security policy of Uber cars should be rechecked and redesigned, and the complaining option should be directly added to the Uber app for the customer's ease. And Uber can also introduce a revolutionary change by giving the female drivers opportunity to drive in Bangladesh, which may also increase female intention to use the Uber car. So moving on to the conclusion, can we move on to the next slide? So first, I want to say a quote about Richard Thaler. He said, there is a reason why the startup companies, especially the disruptive startups like Google, Amazon, or Uber, are full of young people. That's because young people are not as wedded to the old-fashioned ways of doing things. So the young people nowadays, especially in Dhaka city, the students, the young generation are mostly tech savvy, and they're using technology like never before, and they're integrating the technology to the part of their daily life. For example, using Uber or other ride-sharing app services for their means of transportation. So before moving on to the conclusion and stating the quote in mind, we have some limitations and further research opportunities. So first, the current study was conducted in a developing country like Bangladesh, thus the generalizability strength of the finding to other country is limited. But the future research can compare among other company sector, and in addition, it would be better to larger sample size and better sampling, because we have done on a smaller scale of in-depth researches. And furthermore, in context of developing country like Bangladesh, the quality of internet might moderately affect the intention of the use of the ride sharing services. As such, the intention to use the other mode of transportation as substitute of Uber can be also an exciting idea to be examined in further research. So the conclusion part, we want to say that throughout our research paper, we have found that there are multiple factors that can influence one student's intention to use Uber car services. particularly like in a developing country like Bangladesh. The factors include the convenience, accessibility, affordability, safety, and on-time service. All these factors not only influence the university students to use the Uber car service, but also depicts the reason of their preference of Uber car over traditional taxi cab, CNGs, or bus services, or the public transportation mediums. The findings from this paper can contribute to the advancement of both the theory and practice. In terms of theoretical implication, the result may enhance fundamental knowledge about determinants that affecting the intention of students to use Uber car. In transport context, we will see the reasons behind preferring Uber over other medium of transportation in Dhaka city. In terms of managerial context, the study would pave their way to development, improvisation, and innovation in their service. Thus, our suggestion may prove to be the bedrock of recovery of Uber service gap. Thank you. That's all from us.